Welcome to the YouTube studio. Video, check. Audio, check. Me notes, check. I'm Fish. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be talking about the Osmo Action 2, the DJI Action 2. It's a $520 camera for the bundle with the front screen and the base, or $399 just the base and a power module. Start to add all these things up, you're talking a good $1,000. Now that I have gave you a small introduction, let me just read you the good, the bad, the ugly. I put everything together, came up with a lot of things I may like or dislike. And you're going to find out they're not a lot of likes. So am I going to think about what I'm going to do? Sure am. Am I getting one for the channel? I don't know. It's a lot of money. I am watching videos and I want to see what's around. So here we are. Horizon Steady, 1080p and 2.7K, not 4K or 5K. I'm not sure if it's going to be in ultra wide, wide, or standard. I'm not getting any information on the site about that. If I start to look on the website itself and I start to read the information of the specs, it gives the video resolution of 4096 by 372, which is 4 by 3, or 3840 by 2160 for 4K. Slow motion time-lapse stabilization. Rocksteady 2.0 plus Horizon Steady. Not supported when recording 100 frames or higher. Horizon Steady is only available when the video resolution is at 1080p, 16 by 9, or 2.7 16 by 9. Doesn't mention anything about field of view that I'm looking at this given time. So think real hard about that if it's worth getting the camera. The next thing is the magnetic mounts. They can collect filings, shavings. If you put it on the ground and something's a little bit metal there and it gets into those magnetic areas, you're going to have to take a brush and do your best trying to get it out of the crevices of the mount. So when you mount your stuff, it's going to probably make it harder. Another thing is the square, the cube, 1.58 by 1.58. You can't just hold that little cube size of a square cracker in your hand and get your perfect shot, because your hand may get in the way of ultra wide view. So that means you're going to have to put the power bank on, hold it down there, and pray that you don't hit it and break the camera. You can use a tripod, which is fine, but that's something that 33 by 33, real small, almost like the Hero Session, trying to hold that, a lot less in depth. Another thing I don't like, the fourth thing, is the LED lights for recording, the bullet, and the charging. We know it's going to be on the front, not going to be on the back. Your bullet's going to be there, but not an LED when it's charging or recording. It's going to just be there on the actual screen itself for the back. And I'm not sure about the rest of the camera. Well, we know you have to have dedicated 12 gig for firmware, hardware, software running the camera, and you only got 20 gig. What if DJI upped that game to 64 gig? That would have been nice. Now, no charging ports on the base, right? Nothing's on the base. It's a watertight camera. You need to have the power bank or the touch screen. And it leads to the next one. There is only a USB Type-C port. What if you want to plug it into a smart TV, an HDMI cable, get HDMI output. Not on this camera, not at all. So think about that. Other cameras will have that. One important thing is you have a macro lens adapter for $80. That's expensive. And you don't have a lens protector. So could DJI have made their own lens protector? And I guess you got to get the refresh program if you damage the lens. Today, all the reviews you see that these people got the camera released at 9 a.m. October 27th, if their lens starts to scratch, they won't have a tempered glass on there. It's not yet made. So you may want to hold off on your purchase until somebody makes tempered glass that you could put on the back and the front of the camera to protect it. Or just simply use the waterproof housing. It doesn't have any removable lenses, so nothing unscrews and nothing unscrews with bolts. That would have been awesome. It won't unscrew like the other one with threads. Now, we know that it's one mic on the base, 3 mics on the second modules. And that means it's not stereo when you're going out and about in the real world. And that sounds like an action camera, not having a true stereo sound. So once again, I feel that this is just a mono camera, giving the one track to 2 separate tracks of one audio sound. Wind noise reduction, I don't know how great that's going to be on one microphone, but it got to have wind noise reduction like the Action does, right? Another main thing, and I've seen on not just one, but a few clips, the background, blurry. Some of the shots were blurry. And it leads to the next thing, warping in the video. If you are not using the de-warp, a lot of the video in the background with the different field of views looked very warped. And that leads to another one where the person's body, this is a normal body, it looks normal to you, but all of a sudden they look like a rubber man. The the DC Comics, the rubber man, I forget his name, Gumbo, the stretchable doll. That's what they look like. Another thing leads to where it's a magnetic with clips. Are those clips fully replaceable? Because you know what's going to happen. It's going to get caught in something. You're going to hit it the wrong way. Snap goes one clip. And now you got a weak device. This is another one. It all depends on your resolution and frame rates you use. The camera is very tightly sealed. It's got a drain port. And that's like number 5 on the top side. The camera is going to overheat. Major issues of all cameras. 5 minutes, the highest quality, 4K 120. And of course, 9 minutes on the lower quality. And sure, HD 1080p, you could get up to 30 minutes. And you're going to get 35 through 70 minutes on the base only in different resolutions. Not bad at all. That's nothing bad at all. Now, the dual module, if you, again, I mentioned, if you hold just the camera, the base, your hand's going to cover everything. So now we have, all those lists and everything of the problems. And the next one is the magnet. Put it on the lanyard and put it behind your shirt. How strong is that going to be when you're doing heavy sports and everything and you're bumping around and you're zipping up and you turn the wrong way? Or somebody sees that and they grab it and they run off with it. That's something I would think about of that. Is it trusted to be in water, stay on strong? But it does have a little clip, a lanyard that you could hook it to that as a secondary so it doesn't, fall off the thing. It's not a 100% full 4K camera, as certain features got its limitations like everything else out there. We talked about Rocksteady. It won't be on slow motion, and a lot of people want that on slow motion, over 100 frames per second in the video, and they want the height, the horizon steady as well at 4K. So you have your limitations, and maybe updated firmware will correct that. DJI color, too vibrant. It's very vibrant compared to other cameras, so they did update the color profile, and it may not be to one's liking. You could tone that down by doing the D-Link profile there, and you got something that's called Pro that may help on that. D-Warp may not be doing justice today. It may be changing the ultra wide, and people don't want to see bends anymore. They want to see more linear. So why can't we have something that's more squared, 16 by 9, capturing a real wide area with a 10 millimeter lens? You know, you get the idea right there. Now, we have photos are secondary for me. It has a slow shutter to capture some quick shots, because if you compare it to another camera and other cameras, it may not have a fast electronic snapshot. It's not mechanical snapshots like some older cameras out there. It all depends on that. Well, we have audio zoom, and that means when you take video and you start to zoom in, you're going to hear the sound get louder when you zoom in closer to the camera. It brings the distance away, and that's something that may be interesting. And I noticed on the video, somebody did a video, and I didn't hear any difference at all. Now, this camera doesn't have HDR. Please correct me. HDR video was important, and you did not have stabilization with HDR. You got a 1.17 sensor. Now, wouldn't you think you want 10 bit rate in this camera with some image stabilization? You don't have Rocksteady 1.0 added in as a lower ESI. You just got Rocksteady 2.0 on or off, nothing more. Wouldn't you want low, medium, and high on it like the other cameras out there on the market? This has HEVC or HVEC H.264 only. It does not have H.265. So kind of like, what does it really have? Well, the screen's 1.7, same size as the GoPro Hero 9 and 10 out there, and that's how small this camera is. It's really packed into a very small thing. Now, we know Rocksteady is under 100 frames per second on all the settings. Of course, at nighttime it's going to jitter a little. You got to adjust your shutter speed. It may not have night lapse video mode, so you may have to adjust your shutter speed for that. You could probably do photos and increase your shutter speed for higher seconds to get to. Can be time consuming to change all these parts out when you're doing certain activities, and you may have to put everything in some type of particular order to keep yourself organized. I'm coming down to the nitty-gritty of this. Now, DJI has dedicated a lot of this stuff their own stuff, and it can become quite expensive. The base model is only 10 meters underwater. The Action was 11 meters. They went back to 10 meters. So how true was the Action to 11 meters versus 10 meters? I don't know. You got $1,000, get yourself a DSLR, but it won't fit on your head, but you'll do everything that you want to do with the 1-inch sensor. You're spending a lot of money for all these piece parts. The base, the touch screen, the wireless mic system, the tripod selfie, additional battery, and windshield mounts and so forth. The good thing about this is we're no longer 80 meg bit rate. We're 100 meg bit rate on the Action, and now we're 130 bit rate. And it doesn't have lens flare. I don't know if I've seen any lens flare on the camera, but you look at another camera, you'll see the bouncing dot all over. Well, I said my piece, and I hope I made some sense to you, that why I think for me, my thoughts out loud to you, what I like and dislike about the Action 2. There are a lot of good thoughts here that says to me, Fish, wait, you don't know if firmware is going to fix a number of things. Well, we've seen in somebody's video that leaked everything that the front screen or the back screen was Latacy big time, and nobody out there has pointed that out. And they had this camera for what? A day, a week, a couple of weeks, a month. Nobody knows how long they have this camera for, and nobody's showing you the front Latacy yet. So I made some good pointers for me to say, hey, I may hold on to my Hero 10 and I may just go that route. And if you look at GoPro rushing their firmware 1.15 to the market, and then not pulling 1.15 off, that caused the camera to continuously reboot, and people are trying to help GoPro out. And GoPro says we are aware of it, but they are slow to get the stuff back off. It's not that hard to say, hey Joe, get on that forum and delete that firmware, put the old firmware, and tell people to reload it. I had to tell them, make this a sticky and stop having people repeated all these multiple topics. So on DJI's forum, the support forum, I made a questions and answers topic, and a lot of people are coming forward of positive and reviews of the Action 2, and they are loving the camera. Yes, it's a beautiful camera indeed. It's a lovable camera. It's something new. You had the Insta 360, which was module. I didn't get it, and I don't think I am going to get the Action 2 today. But tell me down below, are you going to get one, and the reasons why you're getting one, and tell me a reason why something that you may not like of the camera. So tell me something that you like and something that you dislike, and if you're getting one or not getting one. Love to hear your thoughts. On that note, I'm Fish. Thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope to see you on many other videos to come.